Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Michael back at you guys, girls, the real 1%. We got another episode of the Military to Civilian podcast today, and we got my main man Isaiah here today. Appreciate you being here, brother. How you doing today?
Man, I'm amazing. I love the title. I recognize the title. Thank you for having me. First of all, I'm here as an open book. I'm going to give it transparently as the best of I can, and hopefully, people are truly listening. Let's go.
Hey, let's get it, man. Like Sergeant Time training back in the day, man. We're gonna dive right in. So, hey, if you don't mind, for everybody, give us a little bit of background on Isaiah. Let us know where you from. Why you joined the military. Obviously, you an Army boy like us, man. You know how we get down. So, let us know a little bit about what you did, and then just lead us up to the point where you started thinking about getting out the Army, or started maybe devise a plan of what you had next in life. So, I'll open it up to you, brother. It's all yours.
So, to mix it up, to jump forward, going in, I already had an exit plan. So, I went in.
Okay, you're the first one that said that, dude, and I've been hitting on that. But go ahead, bro. Real smart, dude. Real smart.
So, I'm a military brat. Pops was in, dad was in the Navy, uncle was in the Army. So, my uncle, I figured out when I got in, he didn't talk about it. He was a sergeant major. He exited as a sergeant major. I did not know that in my entire 4 years because there are scumbags that have first sergeant major's dad that love to fucking go on ends about their fucking dad and their uncle who are high rank. But
Yeah.
anyway, I figured that out after I got out. I'm like, shit, why didn't you tell me? You could have helped me navigate. But anyway, I was a military brat, so I was familiar. So I kind of like toyed with the idea of it through high school. But going through high school, applied to colleges, didn't get any scholarships, had to do fine aid. Went to college, dropped out after a year and a semester. And after that, went back home, was doing dumb odd jobs, warehouses for the most part, slaving in like 90-degree weather in a warehouse and steel mills, making like 14, $15 an hour. My mom was always drilling me to go into the military because that's my lifestyle. That's all. That's just a part of the family business, so to speak. And I was fighting it because I didn't want to do something someone else did just because it's familiar. Like I can find my own success. I wanted to do my own thing. So I was being a dumb kid, being rebellious.
Yeah.
After about a year, after about 2 years of doing dumb odd jobs, I hit the maturation point of, dude, who cares? Like, is this what you want your life to be? You want to be in this backwater town where nobody's successful, nobody's made it out and done nothing. Do you want to be another statistic? I'm like, I have no ego and no pride in saying I will go do what one family member did to be successful. And so I figured it out about the GI Bill. I did what research I could. I figured out you could get a degree for free. The Army will pay it through Post 9/11 GI Bill. I'm like, all right, that's it. This is what we're gonna do. So I had to lose weight. Took me about a year and some change to lose weight. Got in. Uh, Fast forward how I got to here. I made sure to research for bonuses. I'm like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make the Army pay me up front. So I figured out. I knew I wanted to be in tech. Tech and IT is my life's work. That's something it's actually my passion. It's not just something to do for the money. And so I ciphered through the MOSs, the jobs that they offer for tech, and I picked the one that would be most desirable when I got out. But I found one that was similar that had an extra 5,000 in a bonus. So I picked the one with like a 20K bonus, signed up, and then what else? Let me see. Fast forward, did 4 years, got a certification, got a clearance, got out, and had my feet hit the ground. Here I am.
What did you pick for MOS? You 25 series?
Yeah, I was a 25 November, which is basically, if anybody's in IT, it's like a network administrator for comms. Comms vehicles? So the SDN, TNS, the vehicles that on route supposed to give comms to the war fighters. I was supposed to do that, but somehow, some way, I got picked up by Soft, so I was in first group, and they don't do that. The green hatters and the tan hatters, they are always moving, so they use man packs. So I got switched to be a 25 Bravo, which is what I wanted. Funny enough,
There you
how it
go.
works in mysterious ways. I wanted to be a 25 Bravo. They were only giving 15K. A 25 November was giving 20K. So I was like, whatever. I need more money right now. I need a pad. I need a launching pad, a cushion, because I know when I get out, shit might get thick. Shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
Turned out I got with first group and I was made into a 25 Bravo anyway. And so that's how I got a actual free certification through the Army. So I was blessed.
Did you go airborne too?
I went, but I did not because I couldn't. I don't think I could get cleared. There's a medical process that you have to do, but I didn't get cleared, and somehow I did get picked up. Usually, and the Army is funny in that way. You're supposed to go airborne in AIT before you even go. I
Right.
didn't. You don't get to pick where you go. The Army choose based off their need, the Army's needs, as they say.
Right.
And I wanted to go to Fort Gordon because I just proposed to my ex-wife at the time. She's from Florida. I'm from Georgia. I'm from Atlanta. And I was like, I need to get Fort Gordon. There's this girl that got Fort Gordon, and I got Fort Lewis. First group is out in Fort Lewis. I tried to swap with her so bad, she wasn't having it. She wasn't even talking to me. And then I talked to another guy, and he was kind of gonna do it, but he was like, nah. I'm like, bro, I got Fort Lewis. We could go to First Sergeant, and you can go to nice ass Seattle, and all that. It's supposed to be the best, one of the best bases in the country. He wasn't having it. But hindsight 2020, I will never change it. I love the unit. I had quasi great leadership. My first line leadership was amazing. I had trash leadership, of course. But I never take it back. I never regret it.
No, that's good, man. So you got in, you did it smart. You the first person really that's mentioned it, and I've talked about it a lot on here. It's just like, even in business and anything, you got to have that exit strategy, dude. So you went in. I guess I had a kind of an exit strategy too. I said I'm gonna do 4 years, and same like you. I'm not trying to take student loans. I was working 2 jobs, making garbage, Pizza Hut, and like working at a retirement home. And this is when Florida was still kind of cheaper. And I'm like, damn, I don't have no money, man. Cause like working those labor jobs, you don't get paid. You don't really, your skill set is your manpower. You're not like using you know what I mean? So it's like you're using your manpower to make that 12 or $10 or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I guess I had a little bit of an exit plan too, but I re-enlisted once and ended up doing 8 years. You did your 4. How fast did it go by for you, man? Did you have fun? Did you have to deploy? Did it go by fast, slow? What was it like for you?
I did 2 Oconus trips. They take care of but for who's watching, they take care of the South Asian Pacific. So you can go to Singapore, Japan, Korea, basically all the Asian near the Gulf of Asia is where we go. So I took 2 trips for free. The flight freaking sucked, but it did. Hindsight, it did. Everybody knows it goes in any military. In the thick of it, it's like, damn. For those who have the exit plan, it's like the contract is that long and it's going year by year. You're like, all right, year 1 down, year 2 down, year 3, and it was the last year. You like, damn, I'm almost made it, but they can make it so sweet with the bonuses and well, now that you've done your contract, we continue where you want to go. So let us know where you want to go. When you first get in, it's the Army's needs, and it's like, damn, I'm so almost done. But to answer quickly, yes, in hindsight, it did go fast, and I enjoyed it. I didn't get to experience. There is this big like fight between, they call it conventional Army and unconventional Army, and I didn't get to experience conventional Army. And there's we kind of like trained a lot of infantry and regular Army guys. And they tell us all the time, like, y'all don't know how privileged you are as a private. Like, you standing there talking to a major and full conversation is ridiculous. That's asinine. It's just, we don't just do that. The fact that y'all get to see and talk with your leadership, that doesn't happen. They barely get to talk past their team leads, their E5s. And so I think a lot of that, I was getting learn a lot more than I probably should have. I was in rooms I shouldn't have been in, and I learned a lot, which helped me prepare for the other side. And I get to do a lot. There was not a lot of downtime. I was in when this King Jong Un, that when they were like touting World War III.
Yeah.
That is when I was in Korea. I was in Korea. When we left Korea, a week later, Trump walked over that railroad. We were talking to those rocks, and quiet as kept. I technically survived a gas attack. A gas attack happened, and then our commander, our LTC, was like, "Nope, you gotta go. We ain't come here for this. We didn't. We definitely wasn't there to fight. We were there to actually like not make amends, but kind of like strengthen a relationship between South Korea, because that is really their fight. But we were there just for support. But between that, I went to Japan. Always wanted to go there. I'm an anime geek, and so I got to go there for free on Uncle Sam's dime. Um, yeah, I think it did. It went fast.
Not bad, man. Japan. Where'd you go in Japan? Were you like, were you
Tokyo,
Okinawa? Tokyo? Oh, that's what's up, man. I had a
Tokyo.
damn Tokyo drifting, dude. Not bad. Yeah, I was gonna take a job in Japan, but the pay was just too low when I was contracting, and it was during COVID, and you couldn't bring your family, and I wanted to try to bring my son and his mom because I think that'd be an awesome experience. Just to even if you do yeah, I probably would have took a lower paying job if you could just experience it. But they had it all. They were locked down pretty big time during COVID, so that was kind of impossible. But that's cool, man. So you got to travel, you got to get to a cool unit, talk to people like you said that you might not experience in the conventional side. Like, yeah, a lot of majors probably aren't walking around talking to the platoons unless you're in an HHC or something like that, and maybe stuck with all the staff like I was at Fort Campbell. So we had those. I mean, you had them people all around, but like you said, it's few and far between. So that's cool. What'd you get for a certification when you were in?
Security Plus.
Okay.
So that if so the 25 Bravo for who's watching and don't know, that's basically a help desk technician. So like IT support. And
Right.
so when you move up the ranks, you can go from IT support to like a systems administrator. And then if you could become a chief within the 25 series, you could kind of be like a engineer, kind of. You gotta go through some things. But yeah, and my clearance and my upgrade clearance. I got a top secret while I was in there for free and security plus for free.
Can't go wrong. You're getting paid to get it, really. So that's not bad at all. When did you know? Did you ever think about re-enlisting when they start throwing that stuff in your face and try to sweeten the deal for you? Like, did you ever have something going on? Say, man, I might do it. I might raise my right hand and get back on. What'd you have going on?
So if I was still married, yes. So I was in from 2016, 2020. I was married. I got married in 2017. Had filed for divorce in 2020. And the same year I'm getting out. But if I had been married, I probably would have re-enlisted because being married while I was in, she didn't make enough. I got to a specialist, so my savings got drained. Majority of that bonus I got was getting drained. And so I was like, I need another bonus. And that's how they get you. They
Yeah,
throw 40, 30 grand at you easy just to stay in. And I'm just like, I need to replenish my savings, man. This being married just I'm talking it was like a flamethrower on top of a pile of dry leaves, just poof, gone. Telling you. Anyway, um, but yeah, that was the only thing. I had toyed with the thought of doing a life because of my uncle. Like I said, he was a sergeant major, and he makes it look good. Like those 20 years on top of disability. If you get 100% disability and you do 20 years and you can get out as a 7 or higher, you technically don't have to work. Technically,
you making like $7,000 a month or something like that, probably, dude. I mean, so
and if
yeah, you're right.
And if you can invest well, which you should do in the army because you're not paying for shit, you're smart. In the army, you should be investing. You should be finding different type of things you can do with your bank, Navy Fed, and USAA. You have some of the top best interest rates on investments. So make sure you're doing that while you're inside. And then when you get out, depending on where you live, of course, I'm not talking about if you live in New York or California, but if you live in the Midwest or the South, you mean if you could finagle something with your investments, you technically don't have to work. So I'm like, that looks attractive. My uncle made that shit look so good. And I'm just like, that could be me. Because technically the army is easy. When they say it's easy, it really is. Like all you gotta do is show up at the right time, the right place, in the right uniform.
Pretty
Technically, that's all
much,
you have to do.
and just listen to what you got to do, man. You're right. You don't, and it's a double-edged sword because I feel like a lot of people are so used to. We all so used to that, right? We're all in the military, no matter what service, and then you can't really carry the same thing over to your civilian life because you're not going to have someone telling you exactly what to do and where to be unless you have a job lined up when you get out. It's kind of going to be on you, so you got to start thinking. Because sometimes what the military does is like you just turn off your mind, dude, and you just listen to what someone else is telling you, and you kind of go with that. And not a lot of people in the military go against the grain too much. You know what I mean? Because no one really wants to CMJ, no one wants to get this, don't get that. So it's kind of wild when you look back and think at it, dude. Because the COVID thing kind of had people stirring the pot, right? Like people started like, I'm not doing this, I'm not getting that, I'm not getting this shot. But like, dude, we all went to basic training and we all lined up like cattle and got our arms prodded however many times that was, and no one was saying shit then. So it's kind of crazy that it had to take something like COVID to put some more things in perspective. But I mean, and you were kind of in like, right, you got out like, what you say, 20? You got out 16 to 20. So you got out like right before everything kind of hit the fan, right?
No, I got out in September. So I was the last year I was in, COVID hit. I was a specialist and I was getting out. So I had worked myself into a position where my NCRC was cool to leave me alone kind of a bit. And that's what great leadership matters. It's like that is double-edged sword too. That's kind of like, so drill sergeants will tell you when you get to AIT, when you get to unit, you don't want to do too good, but you don't want to be a shitbag. You want to be in the
Yeah.
middle. You don't want them to know your name for negativity, but you kind of don't want them to know your name for positivity. But it depends on what type of person you are. If you can't deal with a lot of responsibility and being called on a lot, you don't want to be a superstar stud too much if that's not you. But
Yeah.
trust me, nobody wants to be a shitbag. But somehow some people are. A lot of people are in the army specifically. But anyway, um, no, I was in the last year. I was in the thick of it of all of the COVID, like pandemic quarantine. That's what
Okay.
they call it, quarantine. And when I got out, it was still the pandemic, so I had to move during the damn pandemic.
So what did it? So did you have? You said you had a good leader. Did anyone ever ask you like what you were gonna do after the army? Did anyone?
Oh, I know you asked that probably at every interview for a vet because
Yeah,
I
man.
drive and then you should keep asking it to drive it home for everybody who's watching. They're going to
Absolutely.
do that. If you man, for all the whoever's is a specialist or an E5, I hope you pay attention for basic training because that foundationally is something is gonna re-edify all years, no matter how long. If you have drill sergeant pay attention, they do something called a psychological play. A lot of what they do is psychological in order to get to do something, in order
Yeah.
to get you to heed to what needs to be done. That's gonna reinvent itself over and over and over. Especially if you're a shitbag, to get you to make you do what the army needs you to do. But
Yeah.
when I got out, they were doing that. They're gonna re-amplify and re-implicate the needs of the army and try to make you feel like, well, you're a part of something, we need you here, and you're a greater mission for the country, and you're a countryman, and all that good jazz. But
Yeah.
never forget why you came in. If you came in for a purpose, never forget that. I had good leadership that said this: "Hey, the army's gonna use you, so you better use the army." That's that. It, to
Right.
me, is pretty much better leadership than most. I would say. Never forget that.
You're right, but also it seems like a lot of people have told me that like, well, what are you gonna like? They try to use scare tactics on you. Like people like, well, what are you gonna do when you get out? You're not gonna be able to get a job. You're not like, dude, you're gonna have to, dude or girl, whatever you are, you're gonna get out too. Everyone's getting out. It doesn't matter if you're General Milley or the Private Joe. It doesn't matter, man. We're all getting out. And there's always life after the army of the military itself, not just the army. But yeah, man. So that's funny to hear that. I had nobody even ask me what I was going to do. So I feel you.
Yeah.
Like I feel I don't want. I wish that on nobody because when you feel like you're in a unit and you have they don't know your value or your worth and they just treat you like shit because you're getting out or whatever. That's the wrong story, partner. And I don't need to say no names, but whoever they know who they are, and we're not here to bash nobody, but we're just being real at the same time. But that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to start this podcast is just to have people have a different perspective on getting out the military because it's okay to get out if you did 3 years or 15 years because that's life. You just got to know your why. Don't get out mad. Don't get out angry without a plan because when that check stops and you don't have your disability lined up or you didn't get hurt or you don't might not have your GI Bill getting ready to roll or VR&E, man, you got to figure out where your next check's going to come. And none of them people are really going to care. I mean, you might have a good leader, good friends that you met, and they might hit you up and say, yo, what's up, bro? How you doing? You good? But realistically, they're not going to write you a blank check and come save the day. So it's really up to us in ourselves to take care of that. So it seems like you got messed around with a little bit on that, and no one was really trying to, like try to encourage you or ask you, hey, like what you gonna do? Well, I want to do this, or have you thought about moving here, moving that? Like what you have?
That was a mixed bag. It was like,
Next.
so I worked at battalion and I worked in HHC for like 2.5 years. And so
Okay.
my battalion commander and sergeant major, I worked with them almost every day, talked to them almost every day. And I was in IT. And so that's kind of like, as the years go, the army is like 10 years late for our technology, but when
Damn.
shit is moving. Majority of stuff is based off technology, and they move a lot. They be on flights back and forth, so they had a phone attached to their hip and they had a laptop. So I was always working on that stuff. So when I got out, it was a little more familiarity. It was kind of like they try to make it seem cool, like they was like the cool uncle was like, "Hey Theodore, what you doing? We see you coming up. We see recruitment has been talking to you. What has been the conversation?" I remembered my sergeant major. I was in, and I'm not. I think about it. I think she pinged him to come in there. Like I said, the psychological play. The recruiter we had gave recruitment an office. It was the E7. I walked past her office every day, and I think she just pulled me in, doing her duties to retain me. Retention. That was her
Yeah.
job. Retention NCO. We're talking, and as we're talking, it doesn't occur to me. I really think she pinged him on what were we using? I think we were using Jabber. I think she pinged him like, I got Theo in here. And all of a sudden, Sergeant Major is now in my office. A sergeant major of a fucking battalion. How does he have time to sit here and talk to a specialist? Fucking Theodore. She probably pinged him. But anyway, we in there and he's asking me all type of questions in the kind of like reverse psychology way. He used to be a drill sergeant too. And so I picked up on that. I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing. He just asked me, like, what are your plans? Or what are you planning to get out? As soon as he finished his sentence, I laid out like a resume what I was gonna do. This, that, third, blah, 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 blah. I know this company, I know this company, I know this company. As soon as I start talking, he was like, oh, okay, well, I was just asking a question. That's how they gonna get you. No, you was not just asking a question. If I didn't answer it properly, you were gonna press the line at, well, it does seem like you got it figured out, Special Theater. You know, if you talk to Sergeant, what was her name? I forgot her name. Start with a P. But anyway, if you talk to retention NCO, you know, we got to figure it out. If you don't have a plan, what better way to figure out a plan while you're in the army? Watch that. Watch that SHIT. They'll get you with that. That is
Yeah.
a great play. If you're not doing nothing, you might as well do nothing while you're in the army and get paid and live for free. They won't
Right.
get me with that. As soon as he asked me that, I laid out my plan, showed that I had it tucked, had it tight, had all my I's dotted, T's crossed. But everybody's gonna do that, and they, you know, the good old saying, retention is everyone's job, just like safety is everyone's a safety officer. Everyone's a retention NCO. Somehow,
Yeah.
everyone's gonna ask you. The retention NCO is gonna ask S8 in NCO and the S6 and the S3 NCO. Hey, Theo's getting out. You guys need to make sure. Had a master sergeant when I was walking out the door. Master sergeant has nothing to do with HAC. Doesn't work there. He works in a different detachment. He's like, hey, Theo, I heard you getting out. In my head, I'm like, I know you did. It's the thing in the army. He's like, what's your plan? Like, I laid out, da 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 da. Oh, well, why aren't you gonna be NCO? That's another thing. I was a specialist, and they sent me to the board twice. We'll talk about that later. I need to get NCO. It's not my thing. I'm not interested. I'm about to get out. Sorry. Yeah, well, we know you're getting out, and we're not trying to be pushy, but you know that looks good on your resume when you get out. That's the thing. What they do is get you to be NCO, get you with more responsibility, and try to pull you in and show you life's great as an NCO rather than being lower enlisted. Don't believe that, man.
Oh, life get a little bit rough when you get that E5. Trust me, man. You get a lot. Yeah, it's a little bit more a lot more responsibility, and depending on where you at, yeah, you're gonna have less personal time. But after you talk to all them people, the sergeant major, the recruitment or the retention NCO, career counselor, whatever you want to call her, and then all them people hollering at you, like, how was it getting out? Like, what did it look like for you to get out? Like, because you're in the heat of COVID too, and I've talked to a couple other people, and they sort of said stuff shut down big time. So it's like they were at home all the time, or this, that, and the fourth. So it's like I'm curious to hear from you, and I'm sure other people are that are listening or they're going to listen to this. Like, what did that look like? And to put it all on the plate, talk about, if you don't mind, like, did you have anything on your disability? Did you have what did all that stuff start looking like when you got the ball rolling, when you devised your plan, you laid it out to everybody, but then it started getting that time, you're like the last 12 months, like you're talking about, start clearing, doing this, doing that, getting everything in order. What did that look like?
I keep disability short because I didn't do anything. I was the private that I didn't drink the whole Kool-Aid during the whole time, but what I did do is, and this is the truth, I kind of in hindsight see that it was kind of the truth. I was the one that believed if you go to sick call, you're a shitbag or you're, I don't want to curse, but
Why did
you're
no, why did you believe that though? Because I'm sure it didn't. You just didn't. Did that? Was that the mantra or whatever you want to call it of the unit? Like, because it sort of was when I was in 2007 to 15, and it seemed like, oh man, like I don't know, it was no one really just said it out loud, but man, like people would get hurt and they wouldn't really go take care of themselves. So that's kind of the wrong answer.
That is the very wrong answer. And that happened from basic training. I don't know if you know, the drill sergeants drill that into you because the Army, I've heard some high level ranking officer at NCO say, we're actually extreme athletes. So the Army would akin us to being an athlete. And so there's this whole thing about being a stud because there's a PT test, right? You got to pass the PT test or you be kicked out. So they couple not getting kicked out also with being a stud. And so if you go to sick call, you either miss PT, you are able to miss testing out doing I think they're killing the ACFT now. They're going back to the APFT, but
Damn.
not going too many people was getting hurt. I heard that.
Did it last that long? That's only been a couple years in the play, it seems like.
People aren't passing it, and a lot of people are getting hurt. But anyway, and passing the APFT, those kind of things couple as to don't go to sick call, soldier on. That's the thing. Soldier on. I've been hearing that since basic training. So from basic training at AIT to my unit, that was every NCO that I had, platoon leader, first sergeant major. That was like the running ethos. You don't go to sick call, you soldier on. And that messed me up. I should have went. My Achilles is busted. I think I had shin splints. In my right knee, I had a spasm in my calf that f's up with my right knee. And so I've been doing CrossFit since I got in. I think the CrossFit boomed while I was in. And I injured my knee again after I got out doing CrossFit. I banged that knee that I got messed up during a ruck. I banged that knee on a box while I was trying to do box jump. And it popped, like part of my knee kind of popped out. And you could feel it and touch it, kind of push it in. Man, if I had went to sick call and reported my knee when it blew out during that ruck, I probably could have at least 50% right now, but I don't have anything. I don't have no paperwork. I have no paper trail. I know some vets that have 100% and like some 80%, and I'm talking to them how to get it, but I'm not counting on it. As of for me, because I drunk the Kool-Aid, I'm probably not gonna get anything. I wish I could. Of course, you should. Everyone should do it. But the overall point that I'm getting is go to sick call. You will be fine. You will not get demoted for going to sick call. If you have a shitbag NCO who won't give you opportunities because you went to sick call, I'm gonna say you need to take that up with people around you. Get some good counsel on what you should do. But if people around you are saying you need to go over that person's head, do it if you need to. This is your career. This is your life. When you get out, I know your NCO is the person who's in charge of you, but when you get out, you are in charge of you. It's your life, not theirs. So never remember.
Oh man, you're right, dude. Like, and sorry to hear that you didn't do it when you're in, but if I could help you in any way, we talk offline, and I'll do what I can to help you, because I don't know how it works. I know they can date stuff back into you when you were in, but I mean we could figure that out on another note. But I mean, you just said it best, dude. Like, you're living proof, right? And it took me. I didn't even go to the VA appointment, and I had all types of stuff in my records. So, like, take it from us, man. We're speaking from experience. Like, it's another reason why we're on here trying to put people on game, right? It's not to get over it, but it's to get what you deserve. A lot of people have a pride issue. I had it. Everyone has it, man. Like, you're getting told to take a knee and drink water and take an ibuprofen, and then you say like you don't want to go back to sick call or not doing nothing. Well, even if they're not doing nothing, make sure you get the documents, make sure you get it in your medical records, because like you said, don't you want to set yourself up for success when you get out? And that's part of it, man. Like that's part of it. So take heed to what Isaiah is saying, everybody, and don't become the statistic on the wrong side of the spectrum, because it only gets harder when you get out. And I'm sure that it's discouraging for you and for anyone else, even for me, man. It took me, like I was telling you before we got on, 0 to 6, 0 to 30 to 60 to 80 to 100 over 5 years, man. Why go through all that heartache when you could just get it done when you're in the military? There's no easier time. There's no better time to get your stuff connected when you're in the service, dude. So guys and girls, just like think about that and really weigh the options of, hey, should I do this when I'm in? And even if you get categorized as a shitbag, who cares? At the end of the day, like you said, it's your life. You got to go to formation when you get out and who cares? You might not even talk to them people again. So take care of yourself and your own well-being for the sake of everything, dude. But so for the sake of you and your family and everything else that matters most, man. So damn. So what did what did the ACAP and stuff like that? They still call it ACAP when you got out?
They call it TAP. They have this. The whole thing is called SFL TAP, Soldier for Life Transition Assistance Program. So you tap out. Mine, I feel actually no, I'm blessed because I hear people when I got out, the veteran community is expensive, and I talk to other people, and everyone says how shitty it was, and I was blessed, and I don't know what to attest that to. I try not to be the the elitist soft guy and be like, I think it's because I was in special forces, but yeah, when I was in during the pandemic, it shut down, but it kind of didn't. The operations kind of went as smooth as it could during a pandemic. But in hindsight, it was pretty smooth. And when I think about it, I didn't really have any hiccups because I started early. That's one thing. Because I had an exit plan, when I started to get out, I was on a mission. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm just not feeling the Army anymore. I get out. I already knew that last year I'm gonna hit the ground running. I already had my certification, so I didn't have to worry about that, which is good. For anyone that has any certs to get, make sure you get it not way before, the year prior to you getting out, because it'll take you about 2 months to prep to get the cert. So that's 2 months out of 12 months. Trust and believe you me when I say this. You need every second, minute, hour, day, week, month a part of that last year that you're gonna tap out. Trust me, there are so many courses, classes, paperwork, offices you gotta go to, signatures you gotta get. You gotta take courses to get certifications. You're gonna need that whole year, and you want to get done early so you can enjoy your terminal leave. You're gonna want to max out those 2 months. You should be getting like 2 months, close to 2 months of terminal leave, and that is for when you get out. You're able to move to get housing, a car, and a job. What I did was I hit the ground running when I first hit that 12 months. I already had that cert, like I said, and so I started asking around. I started asking about where the building was where we're gonna tap at. Who do I need to talk to? I figured out what a career counselor is. I figured out who my career counselor was. That is key. I might get off on a tangent.
You good?
When you tap out, you are going to get a career counselor attached to you. That you want that to be your best friend. You want to turn that into your best friend. You need to be real cheeky and friendly with your tap counselor. My tap counselor did me a solid and redid my resume free of charge. She asked me, she's like, "Do you have a resume?" I'm like, "Yeah." From when I before I got in, she was like, "Just send it to me." She sent it back, redid it top to bottom for me. You need to be of service to them also. Don't just I tapped out with like a couple of first sergeants and E7s, and if you know anything, once you get that diamond on your chest or once you get those bars, they start acting like everyone is supposed to acquiesce to them. Like as soon as they walk into the room, the red carpet is supposed to pull out because that's the nature of their position.
Right.
But when you tap out, you're not really first sergeant to these tap out administrators and counselors. You're who's the first sergeant? I can say I don't want to say my first line. but you're not First Sergeant Theodore anymore. You're Mr. Isaiah Theodore in here. They don't care about your rank because you're about to get out. And so they didn't do the necessary things they needed to do. And they weren't really um kind of like warm and empathetic to their job because the career counselors are overworked. They might be attached to 22 to 30 people trying to get them jobs and resume written in a correct veteran system. So be really pliable, be really warm and inviting, and try to make their job as easy as possible all through the way. But also work with them, but also be diligent and ask questions. Ask the questions you think you might not know. Ask them, do they have any contacts? I don't know where you're gonna go. Ask them, are there classes on anything you're looking to get into? Uh, I mean, you could ask them to rewrite resume. I just got lucky. Ask them that. Um, and when I got out, there's this thing called Cool. The Army has this thing called Cool. It's a not a calculator, but it's a chart that lets you know when you have an MOS. There's a direct civilian job description and title to it. Look that up throughout your career. Forget if you this is I'm kind of talking to the people first who have an exit plan when they get in, but this is for everybody. You need to check that out your entire career at least 2 to 3 times a year for your whole contract because sitting the civilian side changes way faster than the Army. Like I said, IT is 10 years behind the Army. They don't
Yeah,
need to change much, but in the civilian side, things are changing probably yearly, annually. So use Cool. Remember your counselor, and what else did I do? LinkedIn. You need to be doing LinkedIn while you're in for one. I've seen a couple of privates and specialists doing that. That's smart. Brush up on your LinkedIn. If there's a job that you know you want when you get out, or you think you're gonna do the same thing, look out for courses like on YouTube, Coursera, Udemy. Start doing them at least 2 years before you're about to get out. Those 24 months before you're about to get out, and stay abreast. Things on it, like I said, things on the civilian side change often. So stay abreast and stay up to point. Um, Try to get certifications and make sure you list them on there. Follow groups and recruiters. And I'll say this I won't be on too much of a tangent. When you follow recruiters, this is big tidbit. You don't have to, but this is what helps me get a lot of like traction on LinkedIn and like resume boards. Follow them and interact. If you
absolutely.
don't, if y'all don't know, a recruiter knows their own job. They know they're supposed to get people jobs. How many people you think a day just add them and the first message they do say is, "Hi, I'm so and so from here. I've done this. I have experience here. I see a recruiter here. What's it like working there? Can we talk about roles?" How many of that same BS do you think they get every day? What is gonna make you different? I do is I add them. I watch what they talk about. I watch what they like to talk about. And moreover, sometimes I may reply to a post, I'll interact, and then sooner or later, when they post that they have a job, I'll comment and say, "Hey, may I got my skill set in here. Can we talk?" More often than not, that's how I get more traction. The only time I cold DM a recruiter is is when I apply to a job and we're not already um connected. We already don't have a connection. But even then, you need to come in you need to be very tactful. Very tactful. Figure out a way to set yourself apart from the fray. And I'll leave it at that. So that's a tangent.
Okay. Nah, dude, you dropping gems in there, man. Absolutely, dude. How did you learn about the link? How did you learn about LinkedIn?
Somebody did tell me, I think my career counselor. Now I'm talking about after she did my resume, she asked did I have a LinkedIn. I'm like, yeah, I made it and there was no profile. She's like, you need to jazz that up somehow. She's
Yeah.
kind of older. She can help me, but she's like, you need to jazz that up. I think those were the words. Um, and LinkedIn was just booming. I think LinkedIn came out in 2013 or something. And so it was really starting to boom. So I put it could be you think it's corny or cheesy. I put veteran in my tag. I already knew that was gonna get me what I needed. So after that,
That's not corny or cheesy at all, dude. I think it's corny or cheesy not to put it in there. I mean, realistically, there's a lot of businesses out there that want to work with veterans and have them on the team, and like, yeah, you, like make. put some effort into it, man, because it's like a virtual, I don't know, it's a resume, it's a landing page, it's whatever you want it to be, really. Like LinkedIn's great, man. You can hit so many people up, and the crazy thing is different than Facebook where everyone's just scrolling and stuff like that. LinkedIn, people actually get back with you, or like you said, interact with people that you want to be around, or the organization that you might want to be a part of. And you did say stuff that actually set yourself apart, because I'm not gonna lie, I cold call people before, man. Sometimes they respond, sometimes they don't. But you absolutely right. Differentiate yourself and go from there. But seems like you had everything rolling. Did you have anything that you didn't like about the process of getting out when you were going through it, or was everything kind of copacetic, to say the least?
It was. I want to give a realistic perspective and view though. Um, I felt like the things I wanted to continue to do were kind of too rushed. I kind of wanted to get another certification, and I kind of wanted to upgrade my clearance.
Okay.
But because I was getting out, I think they not the clearance. There's not much you can do. But aside from that, from a certification, I probably could have got another one, but I think I got shunned because I'm getting out. But as far as TAP goes and all the counselors and all the buildings I had to do to get signatures, they kind of did a good job with the whole COVID thing and keeping things in line, so to
Okay.
speak. Only thing was you have to mind yourself with kind of like the administrators, the people at the desk that sign papers and tell you where to go. They're gonna kind of be antsy on the edge, not too respectful. Just keep in mind, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am. Just go there, get your signature, get out. What else? I think that kind of was the worst thing that I could think of.
That's
I
not
did
bad.
it.
I mean, not really bad. I mean, it's a case by case thing. Some people got a great transition. Some people say it wasn't much value, but it seemed like yours was pretty decent, and you had people that were actually trying to look out for you, which is a good thing to hear. So,
Paperwork. One thing I'll keep realistic is paperwork. A lot of shit got lost. The army is notorious for just missing paperwork. Shit comes back
yeah,
missing. And
yeah,
so you need to keep track of that. Your dental records, your medical records. If you went to sick call, you need to go and stay on top of that. But way before you get out, day one when you step on your unit, just keep that in mind. Just kind of like ask questions. Don't go in all gung ho, acting like you want to know everything. You're the top dog. You're gonna get punished for that. You're gonna get drugged for that. But just keep in mind to keep on track of everything. Like ask questions of where do you go to get certain records? Where do you go to get certifications? Where do you go to get approvals for stuff? That was my worst. There was a lot of stuff that I came up missing, and I wasted time, killed time trying to figure out who's the office for this, who is that. Numbers weren't correct. People that didn't work there for 5 years didn't work there. I went on a whole scavenger hunt trying to look for
damn,
people in places that just didn't exist. That was the worst part.
damn. I don't. Yeah, that don't sound too fun, dude. Looking for people that are ghosts gone. Like, so did you have a job lined up when you got out at Lewis? Did you stay there when you got out, for one, and for two, did you have a job there, or did you end up leaving and going somewhere else?
So I was blessed again. I got a job the first month out of terminal leave.
Okay.
Um, so my terminal leave started. Shit, when did I get there? I got to Atlanta in October, September. Yeah, my terminal leave started kind of like in August, and in
Okay.
September I booked a job. The job started in October. So if you could do that, do that. So I was basically getting double pay. I was getting 4 checks a month. I was getting a check every week, basically.
Not
So
bad.
try to do that. Like I did the LinkedIn thing, had my recruiter do my resume, started talking to recruiters on LinkedIn, booked me a job. That's your best. That's best case scenario. That's the high side. Um, I'm 100% blessed in that regard. I found an apartment, had a job, landed there, got me a car. So it kind of pretty much went smooth. I have no complaints. I don't have, especially for my leadership too. I want to give shouts out to my leadership. I will say names because it's a positive thing. First Sergeant Ariano, First Sergeant Nolan. Those are both my NCOICs. And I did put in the work, but they did believe in me, first of all. The reason why they believed in me, because for one, I was in a shit bag. And for two, I tried my best to help our team, our section, look good. That's the biggest thing about NCO. If you guys don't know anything, if you're unlisted, if you're a specialist and below, one thing you don't want to do about your NCO is make them look bad or
Mm.
make them take up for you and then wish they hadn't, because you make them look stupid after they looked up for you. Because everyone has a boss. They're trying to rank up too, and they have a family. They have wife and kids, and they're trying to rank up. And they probably don't want to be in the army anymore, but they have to do it. They're trying to get to retirement. And so the
Yeah,
easier you make their job, the easier they're gonna make life for you. So the only reason I could say my stuff was panned out and easy is because they let me. They didn't put me in some stupid class for my job when I'm getting out. I've heard that happen. They're putting me in this class and I'm getting out. It's wasting time. Nope. When I had to go to any certifications, when I had to go find a job, my NCO was like, "All right, you're gone." I tried my best to make myself an asset, and my NCO, the last week, my NCO was like, "It hurt me to like, it hurt the shop, not him. He did it. I appreciate him, but he said it hurt the shop to just not have to like try to pull you in and get you to help us to work because you do so well." But I appreciate him and both my NCOICs very much.
that's good, man. You had the total opposite of what I had, so I'm glad that you got
Damn.
that. Dude, I got, hey, they just, man, and I'm not gonna say names just for saving grace, but I actually broke my foot when I was in Afghanistan playing basketball, and it healed back wrong, and I had to get bone spur surgery, and I left Germany, and I had 11 months left on my contract, and I went to Carson, man, and all they cared, I got surgery and stuff like that, so I was out a little bit, but man, as soon as I got back, bro, going to the field with like a moon boot on, all they care about training. That no one ever asked me if I'm getting out, and I don't care. I'm not trying to have anyone feel sorry for me at all. I'm just putting it out there. Like, they rode me to the last damn day, dude. And what I mean by that is, I mean, I went to the field and I probably had like less than 30 days left in the army. Then when it was time for me to clear the rest of the base in those 10 days, whatever they give you to clear, I had to chaperone. I had to escort two soldiers that were getting put out for being overweight because they thought I was already doing it. So I never really had anyone to look after me, but it's nice to hear that you did, and I hope other people are having people look after them, because that's the right thing to do, man. It doesn't matter, even if you're working at Walmart or something like that. Shouldn't someone care about like who you are as a person, just to make sure that you're taking care of yourself or ask you what you're going to do? So that's encouraging to hear that you got that experience, and you should get that time, because everyone's time is going to come. And it seems like the more time they give you, like the more you're going to be prepared to take on your next challenge in life, rather than ride you to the last minute and just make you despise being in the military, because the military is not the bad thing. Like you said earlier, people, it's a great foundation, it's a great stepping stone, it's a great career if you can make it that long. But the people make or break it, man. With anything else, you got bad leadership. Come on, what you think that's going to do for the whole unit? It's going to bring the morale down. You got a great leader, great first sergeant commander, whatever. That's going to boost everyone up, man. It's like that anywhere. It doesn't, not even just in the military. So, if you guys girls are going through that hard time, sometimes you just got to stick up for yourself and say what's right, because like you said, I don't know, I think a lot of people get scared with rank, and they're scared to speak out, because that's just what you said, like, do as right place, right time, right uniform. You're not really supposed to ask why, right? Like, that was a big thing back in the day. Don't question why, just do it. Like, I mean, yeah, as long as it's not immoral, unethical, or unsafe, sure. I mean, if it's something within the scope of work, but when it comes down to taking care of yourself, I mean, you got to stand up for what's right. And like you said, people got families. Even if you don't, you're still a human being, and you need to make sure that you're going to take care of yourself, because obviously those people aren't. But that's good, man. So minus everything, or looks like for you, everything went well, minus just the sick call note, pretty much, to sum up your service. If you could go back right now and go through all those injuries again, I'm sure you would probably say, damn, dude, I know you're going to say, yeah, I would go get it documented, right? I mean, 100%. get it done.
Without question. The only thing I went to sick call for is my shots.
Yeah.
I had glasses. I got LASIK, but I had glasses and dental. The regular stuff to tell you and push you to go do. Outside of that, that's it. I mean, I went to sick call like twice to get out of PT, to be honest. But outside of that, I didn't do any documenting anything in my records because I got hurt. Dumbest. That was the dumbest thing I could have ever done in hindsight. Let me see.
You did a
Outside
lot
of
of things. You did a lot of things right though, dude. So I mean, and still you might be able to, backtrack and get something taken care of. It's not like it's a closed door, so don't give up on it yet. But what did you struggle like? Did you struggle with anything when you got out the military? Did you struggle about your why? Did you struggle about the camaraderie? Anything like that?
the number one thing I call it re-civilizing myself. I'm trying to get back into civilization because if you paid attention during basic training at AIT, they call it the soldierization process. So when I got out, I call it the civilization process. I'm now a civilian, so I got to get out of that way of thinking. It kind of works in business. If you're a manager and up, the army way of thinking works. But outside of that, if you're not a manager, the army way doesn't work. They don't care. If you talk all this army jargon, that's another thing on your resume. You need to flip army jargon to civilian jargon. They don't know all that jargon, and they don't care. They don't care that you're airborne. They don't care you're special forces. They don't care you're a paratrooper. They don't care you. They don't care about all those patches you had. They don't care because they don't know. What is your skill and what can you do for this company?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. What else could I have done? Outside of that, the worst thing getting out from my transition, even until now, not even my transition. The worst thing I have right now is like one thing I could say about my unit inside there's the army culture and then there's a culture that the people thread together and make with your unit. I had a unit. I did have a good unit. I brag on my unit. They tried their best to be a people centric unit. I'll give them that. And there's a culture that they breeded there that I probably to my own detriment, which is kind of like a double edged sword. I'm looking for in a civilian company, and it's not that. Civilian companies are a dog eat dog world. If y'all don't know, if we're sitting here saying the army doesn't care about you, think about a company that was built predicated purely off capitalism. When I say they don't care about you in the civilian world, trust and believe you me, they don't care. The army has to go through hoops in order to quote unquote fire you. That's why we say it's easy. It's actually hard to get fired. You have to be a complete you can be an idiot. Sometimes they color code stuff. You can be respect to everyone's intellectualism, but you can be dumb and be in the army. Because not to be mean, I was in a unit with dumb people in the army. I'm saying like, how are you an E5? Like how are you in charge of people? Like I saw it
Yeah.
on a day-to-day part. You're in charge of human beings' lives are in your hands. How is it that it's you? That's not in the civilian world. That
Right place, right
not.
time, right uniform, man. Right place, right time, right uniform. 39
It's
promotions
easy.
get you right.
It's
Yeah,
easy. That is
absolutely.
not the civilian world. The civilian world is not easy, my friends. That they don't they don't press culture. It's not human people centric. It's all about numbers, metrics, and money. That is the hardest thing. Every interview I get on, when I ask people about culture, and I stop saying that word because I see civilians don't get it. When I say culture, the first thing they say is, "Yeah, we're family oriented." I have family. I don't need y'all as a family. I don't see y'all as a family. I'm tired of hearing that word. I didn't come here to interview to get a new family. My family doesn't pay me. You're gonna pay me. I don't want to hear
Yeah.
about family. That is the worst thing. I still have an expect high. I have army level expectation as far as culture goes and being human centric to the best of army. It like we've said, it's unit because not every unit does it. But from my perspective, I was in a unit that was, and that's kind of hurt me. So as I'm maturing, I'm learning to kind of like maybe not ask that question in interviews. I feel like that's kind of hurt me. It put me in a couple jobs that sucked. That I actually believed them when I asked that culture question. But outside of that, I was never the guy who like believed things would come easy to me just because I'm a veteran. There's a lot of E7, E8, first sergeants who I see them on LinkedIn. They think just because they post their retirement certificate, people are gonna come falling into their lap like a lap dog, and some do to their respect, right? They served their country 20 plus years, they deserve it. But I knew I had to put the work in, and so I didn't run away from that. I would advise everyone who isn't getting out, who's not doing 20 years and you're getting out to not be afraid of that. But yeah, and I kind of miss it. Hindsight is 2020. I'm in the reserves. Part-time sucks. For any of you all that don't need the extra money, just don't do it. Man. Just do not
Hey,
get in National Guard. The reserves is no better. When you get out, they're gonna send you to a part-time counselor at Reserve or National Guard. The reserves are gonna swear, "Oh, we're better than the National Guard." No, they're not. Being part-time just sucks. Holistically, just big scale sucks. Just don't. If you don't need the money, and I'm gonna say it plainly. Sometimes I can't sugarcoat this. If you don't need the money, do not do it. Just say you're getting out. Do not do the try one. They're gonna say, "Let's do a try one." I did a try one. They sucked me in. Just don't do it if you don't need the money. I'll say it plainly. That's it.
yeah,
Period.
that's fair enough.
Um, that sucks. But outside of that, not really. I miss it. I miss the actual camaraderie. There's no camaraderie in the civilian world. It's
Mm,
dog eat dog. It's all about money. No one's there to kind of help you. When you ask for help, people are gonna look at you like, "Well, how'd you get hired if you ask for help?" It's like, "Cause bitch, I don't know everything. Everyone can't know everything." It's
yeah,
it's it's not like that. That's what I kind of That's the hardship I'm having with.
just getting yeah, it's hard, man. But I guess the good companies are the ones that embrace the actual culture of things, and those are the ones that thrive, even though they're still making money. But you're gonna find the. Are you still looking for you? Are you looking for you still looking for something right now, right?
Yeah, I'm looking to move from my current company. And I'm trying to. It's the best position to look for a job is while you have a job, and it gives you
That's true.
comfortability. So right now I'm trying to be smart and picking the next place because I don't want to just keep moving jobs. Tenure does matter. Um, I recently had an interview with Mantech. I had an interview with Leidos. I was gonna take an interview with Bose, but I turned it down. Um, I got an
What
interview with
position you looking for? What position are you looking for? You still in the IT, right? IT sector.
Yeah, I'm gonna be that for technical space. I'm gonna be in a technical space forever, but
Okay.
a systems administrator is what I'm doing, and I'm trying to once I finish my degree, I'm trying to get into engineering.
Using GI Bill.
100% get that free stipend. Listen, for all you listening, remember your GI Bill when you sign. For those who are looking, maybe there are people who are to sign up. When you sign up, ask about the GI Bill for one, post 9/11, and then when you're getting out, keep asking questions about it. Ask, how do you get it? How do you sign up for it? What's the website? There's a website called eBenefits, and then the VA.gov.
VA.gov, man. Get all that, like you said, get all that stuff rolling because before you get out, get your certificate of eligibility. Maybe find the school you want to go to because, like, if you don't have them 60 days of terminal leave, them checks all stopping, man. I worked
At,
kind of like 12 different jobs, dude, when I got out because they were all garbage. They were all dead end, all low paying jobs. And I knew my worth was way more. And then I was like, I finally, dude, it's kind of funny because we both said we went into like get the GI Bill, right? And it's funny that it took me almost 2 years after being out to actually start using it and get the $2,200 a month to go to school in Florida, which is more money than I was getting at a job. But it's kind of idiotic that I went through the workforce trying to think about, oh, I'm going to get somewhere and become an asset, but that was absolutely not the case. So I got into school. I was using my GI Bill, but then I heard about, and I had my like 30% at that point. So then I heard about Voc Rehab, which is called Veterans Readiness and Employment now. They changed the name, but all you got to do is be 10% service connected, and you can apply for it on va.gov, and you go through the motion and you do a little bit of legwork. And yeah, you got to do a little bit of work, folks. All these people on these websites saying, oh, they're giving me the runaround. Of course, it's everything that's good is not easy. No fast money is good. No fast deals are usually good. So you got to put the legwork in, but it's literally like going to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, looking up what you want to do, think about it, print off some stuff, send it in, or go meet the counselor. Now I think they're doing stuff virtually. So like if you think that's hard, I don't know what to really tell you, to be honest with you. Like people always sit here
Stay
and
in.
yeah, just stay in, dude.
Stay in.
Just stay in, dude. Because like if you think printing off paperwork is hard and trying to dig into what you want to do personally and then provide it to the counselor is hard, you got another thing coming. But so I use like 1 month of GI Bill. I got approved for voc rehab, and that's good to use because they passed a law a couple of years ago. If you use voc rehab first, then you can use your GI Bill after it. It used to exhaust the GI Bill if you use either one. It would just take, you'd only have 36 months of benefits, but you could have a case-by-case scenario where you get it extended. That's a whole another story for another time. But so I used VR&E, got my bachelor's degree, but it's like, you just go to school if you're in the right state. If you're like in New York, my buddy lives there, $3,900 a month VA.
Over $3,000. It depends.
Absolutely. And it goes up every year. Obviously, the cost of living is high, but think about if you went to sick call, if you got injured, unfortunate event, but if you got it documented and you got whatever, 50%, maybe $1,100-$1,200 a month plus a GI Bill of you're making $50,000 a year. That might not make it through in New York, but you probably don't have to go kill yourself at a job you don't like to do to try to make ends meet. So it's like work smarter, not harder, man. So yeah, absolutely, dude. Like I'm glad you're using your GI Bill, and hopefully we can get your disability to at least 10%. That way you can use voc rehab and you can save that GI Bill for another time, dude. You know what I mean? Because voc rehab ain't nothing but a thing. You could be like, hey, this is my disability. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get away from this. It's all voc rehab is not an educational program. It's a rehabilitation program to get you back in the workforce. That's what people don't understand. They don't care if you want to just go to school. They need to see that you're going to come up with something that you can get back into society and produce in the workforce. So something to think about, man, because like I use voc rehab. I got my bachelor's degree. Now I'm going for my master's degree. And it's like, dude, that's like 7 years of school to get it all paid for. Just getting paid to go to school, man. You can't go wrong.
That stipend. And it's really, I did a coding boot camp and I used like 6 months of I think I have 36 months left. And I used like 6 months of whatever I had and was getting like 1,200 clearing easy a month. So I'm gonna go back. For those that are in the technical roles, there's something called vet tech. Okay. It's basically the same as the GI Bill, but you don't use your GI Bill. It's basically a free scholarship.
Right.
Go through them and they will pay for it. I don't know if they give you a stipend and free money like GI Bill, but you don't have to touch your GI Bill. And there are some associates and I think bachelor's degree. No, I think it's just associate's degrees and certifications. But they will get you big time industry wide IT certifications like CompTIA, and I think there are some cloud certifications, and there are some software engineering boot camps that they will pay for you and get you a free certification to learn like coding and cybersecurity. That vet tech, which is on va.gov, just Google vet tech, you'll find it. That's free if you're a vet, if you just sign up. Like I signed up and I have it. I just haven't used it yet because I don't have the time per what they're providing. I don't have the time. But when I do, I'm gonna use it. And then after that, I'm gonna use my GI Bill.
There you
so
go.
Remember those two things, folks. There you go. That's two big gems, diamonds we just laid there.
Hey, what was the code platoon that you went to? The coding boot camp.
One I should have used. I think
Code platoon is one of them. I've heard of that.
Yeah,
I was Chicago and stuff like that.
They're big. They're big. I was about to pick them, but I went to. It's called Claim Academy. All of it is remote, especially through Vet Tech. All of the certification programs and boot camps, they're remote. But I went through Claim Academy. I wouldn't really advise it, just if we're just being honest. But they have all the big players: Code Platoon, General Assembly, Iron Hack, I think Code Ninja, and a couple other big guys. I would recommend Code Platoon and General Assembly just to start off for anyone. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Vet Tech will pay for it. 100% free.
Yeah, you can't go wrong, man. You just got to know it. You got to do that due diligence for yourself and figure out what's out there that you can use and and take advantage of, man, because it's, no one else is going to come, like I say, is going to come knocking on your door with a silver platter saying, hey, this is everything that's out there that's offered to veterans. And it sucks to say that because like you had your stuff kind of together when you got out, so props to you for that. But like, man, I had like, for instance, just talk about myself. I had a job in Alaska as a head chef on an oil rig, but then I got my girlfriend pregnant. Then it's like, well, I'm not going to work in Alaska forever. I got to be at home. My whole life blew up in front of your face, and it's like you go into that fight or flight mode, and I was just thinking about, I got to get money, and I wasn't even thinking. It took me 2 years to even think about, man, I got to use my benefits to get to school, or hey, I should go and try to get some disability up. So hopefully you guys and girls that are listening can be proactive and just get all that stuff sorted out before the shit hits the fan. That's the worst time to do it, when your back's against the wall. Like, you're going to have either no choice to like make it happen, but at the same time, it's not going to really be that pretty. So just something to think about as well, man. Like,
And shit might slip through the cracks. I'm sorry, shit might slip through the cracks though. And when you're in that fight or flight, you can miss something. Like,
absolutely,
like you said, if maybe you could jump from 10% to 50 if you're like in school and using that stipend, and if you could pay attention. Instead, you like cracking and chipping away to try to get to 50%, or maybe you could like push to 90. Like, that's what I said about having a job. Like, the best thing about doing something is uncomfortability, and scarcity is the worst time to make a decision.
dude, absolutely. And what you said on that too, like if you have to go to work every day, let's just say 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, of course you're gonna say, I have no time to I've heard it from my own friends. I heard it. I don't have time to go to the VA. I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. You don't? You don't? Okay. I mean, then you're just leaving all that. It's not only the monetary gain, it's everything, man. It's just everything that comes with it. Like, if you ever were able to get to 100%, I mean, that opens up a whole slew of benefits that people don't even know about: tax exemption, homesteading, free schooling, this, that, parking at the airport for free, parking in the handicap spot. All that stuff may sound small and everything, but man, all of it adds up, dude. It doesn't. I mean, I've connected with people that have stays in the Dominican Republic. If you're 100% service connected, you can go down there for free. All you got to get is a flight. You can go. There's so much stuff out there. I haven't even probably tapped into like the tip of the iceberg, but I'm always looking, man, because I want to share it with other people. And if anyone knows of anything that's great out there, leave it in the comments. Put something out there, man. I want to have a mastermind of veterans get on here and be like, hey, all right, what you got, Isaiah? Let me know all the things you know about that are veterans benefits. All right, you're done. All right, what you got, Jones? What you got? What you got? It's because we got to compile this data and these foundations and all this stuff, dude. Because I've been to so much great stuff, man. I've been to entrepreneur boot camp for veterans. It's through Syracuse University, and they have it at all different things. Have you ever heard of that? Like the IVMF. There's so much stuff out there. Go ahead.
Yes, that Hiring Heroes does a whole bunch of stuff for vets and for people who are for disability thing. I think they will help you try to get higher rates and whatnot. Clearjobs.net is big. Clearancejobs.com, if any job is big. While you're into the last, I forgot, I lived in Seattle and I said I was in tech and trying to get in tech.
Yeah.
There are so many companies that have these veteran initiatives. I was getting into Google, Oracle, and Amazon walking through there for free. If you know anything about these buildings, they are almost set up like Fort Knox. Like, they're not just letting anybody in. And they had these events for veterans who are about to get out or veterans. And I went in there and rubbed elbows with a lot of people. And that's how I got into Amazon. But that's now helping me even on LinkedIn and kind of like just in the metaverse in general. Like, you may think while you're doing all this, none of that is presenting you opportunity right now, but people will be talking about you in the background. And trust me when I say all that shit, you hear all these motivational speakers, all these celebrities saying that shit. Just trust the process. It is true. There are recruiters that email me and call me that I wasn't even thinking about jobs or thinking about the company and didn't know about. And I kind of attest that to me putting myself out there for one, and me doing the work, going to uh Google Talks, Amazon veteran workshops and networking events, happy hours. All these places do these kind of like networking events for veterans, and it's on LinkedIn. You gotta follow the companies, follow the recruiters, and that's what I was saying. Sometimes you don't even have to mention a recruiter or DM them; just follow them. They post this stuff constantly because it is their job to get people employed. And so, you as a vet, you have a leg up. Unfortunately, not even unfortunately, you signed up. Listen, now that I'm out, I can say this shit. I already knew that a year in, you signed up to die for your country. That is it. Whether you guys want to believe it or not, I'm sorry. I'm out. They can't touch me. If you didn't know it, you signed up as a human body to die for your country. Respect to all the fallen soldiers. May God bless the dead. And I'm sorry that they did not get to use these benefits. The purpose now is to let you all know that is a very high risk. There is a high reward for it. And that's what we're talking about. You will be rewarded in more ways than any other person on this planet. The podcast is called 1% for a reason. There's not many people out here going through this channel, through this medium that is the military. It's very few. So there's a lot of money out here for not a lot of people. So go out there and find it. And there's a lot of not just money, opportunity. There are so many vet clubs and stuff and websites. As simple as a Google. Now we got Chat GPT. Sometimes y'all don't even have to think about nothing. You got AI. It'll think for you. Just
You're
type
right.
in, well, hey, what are some things for veterans? It'll blast out bunches of
Boy,
websites.
what about 5 seconds, dude? A whole 5 paragraph essay in 5 seconds, dude. Like
Come on now.
you'd be amazed. And it's like, yeah, take it for what it's worth. You prompt the Chat GPT or a Google Bard or all these other things. But dude, use it to your advantage, man, because the world is changing. It's always going to evolve. We got to keep up with times. You can't go off everything it says, but you take it for what it's worth and you do your own research and move on, man. Like be smart, work smarter, not harder. That's what they used to tell us, right? Come on now. Like ain't nothing changed, but you're right.
Bro. Like we were saying, like, if these are simple things you can't do and you keep banging your head against the wall of getting out, I'm sorry. I personally wouldn't say it, but now that I'm talking, just stay in. If it's hard for you to use ChatGPT, LinkedIn, and to Google some shit, stay in. Maybe do a try one and stay in. But yeah, man, you just be prepared to do work in a different kind of way, like you've never done before. I know the army can get hard. Going to the field, going deploying, going training exercises. That shit is get hard. It weighs on the body. But there's a different type of muscle you gotta flex when you get out. You got to start using this more often than not.
That's a pretty good one, man. Did you ever hear about training with industry when you were in to like they have like certain companies that you can get in with, like you were saying, like I don't know exactly which ones they have, but like you ever hear about something? I know it's great, dude, because you get like okay, one of my buddies, he was Purvis. He came on here and talked about his thing. He was a cook, then he reclassed to like I think a field artillery, then he reclassed to 25 Bravo, got all his certs, did training with industry with Boeing, landed a dude. You get in training with industry, you make those connections with these company, you're gonna 80%, let's use the Pareto principle. 80% of the time, you're gonna get a job offer, dude. Like, I mean, the dude's working for Boeing now in St. Louis, so it's like you can set yourself up for so much success even before you leave, dude. Like we've been talking, this is what it's all about. Set yourself up for success. Why not?
It's quite and not to oversimplify, it's quite simplistic, but I don't want to insult anyone's intelligence, but there are, like I said, so I'm in tech. They call it Mang, the Big Five. All of the Big Five have a veteran initiative, and all of those veteran initiatives have apprenticeships. And an apprenticeship, if you don't know, is basically paid training.
Right.
That's how I got to Amazon. I went through a veteran apprenticeship and got paid. I was getting paid pretty high because I also had a clearance. Anyone out there, if you have an opportunity to get a government Department of Defense DoD clearance, just get it. I don't care if you don't.
Even if it's a secret, dude. Hey, I have mine.
Get
I
it.
got mine reevaluated. It's good for like 10 years, I think. So it's like that's you got a clearance on the outside. You're probably looking at six figures if you go on contracting. So you're right, dude. Absolutely.
Bro,
Great to have.
that is what I'm not doing contracting anymore, but I'm still in the clearance space. So that will get you easy I'm gonna give a wide range, anywhere from 10 to 50,000 above a civilian pay raise for any job. So
Right.
whatever you have a clearance, just get it. Now on top of that, each of the big five, they're so big, and data is the new currency. They're so big, the government has their hands in each of the big five. So they all have a cleared space. So even if you don't, and if you're a veteran, they still have a veteran initiative, so apply. But on top of that, they all have cleared space. So they have put spaces where they have skiffs and data centers that only you can be proprietarily get into. That is how I got into Amazon. I had a top secret clearance and got an SCI, and they were going to put me up for a poly. They had these data centers that are cloud, and that's all I could say. I'm still under NDA.
Yeah.
But they had this whole thing, and it was huge. And while I was going to those Microsoft, Oracle, and Amazon kind of like happy hours and networking things, I was rubbing shoulders with these managers and these software engineers who were like putting me up on game. And I kept in contact with them. I kept just sending messages. They would send me like docs, YouTube videos to check out stuff about different things about how to be an engineer, how to be a good engineer. And I would just ask them questions. I wouldn't even ask them about getting a job at Amazon or getting a job at Google. Just asking questions. Network your net worth. That is key. That is something I live by. A lot of your
True.
networking isn't about always getting a job. Things, man, it's hard to say. Some of this could be like superfluous and like Disneyland type stuff. I'm telling you, if you don't always just go towards people that are looking for something, they are more inclined to help you. And you need to make yourself seem like an asset while you're trying to talk and network with someone, because not everyone wants to be taken from. People want you to give too. It's a relationship for a reason. It's give and take. Always remember that. But while I was going to these big company things, I was trying to pay attention. I was taking notes. I was networking and keeping friends around to ask questions. And when I got the interview for Amazon, I had a manager and a lead software developer that was asked questions about what's the interview like. They told me about Star. If you don't know what it is, you should Google it. I'm not just gonna say it. Got to do some of the work. And they told me about their principles. And here's a good tidbit if you're going to Amazon. I give this up because he told me this. He was a vet too. They have now, they have, it used to be 12, but now they have 15. Basically, what you want to do is you want to use the STAR method and have at least one or two examples for every principle, 15 principles that Amazon has. No, they're not going to ask you for all 15, but you want to have a story that is work related, not just life related, work related for every principle. And so you want to have that memorized. Do mock interviews. If you don't know, do mock interviews while you're about to get out. But you want to have that practice and ready to regurgitate upon an interview. That's the I haven't worked any. That's the only big one that I worked at was Amazon. But remember that for anyone that has aspirations for AWS or Amazon, stuff
That's
like that I
yeah.
got just from connecting with people at these happy hours and just talking to them. People will give you not a lot, but some people really want to help. You just have to be someone that's worth helping.
Absolutely, dude. You said it. Yeah, you said it great. So you said Mang. So it's Microsoft, Apple, Netflix, Google.
Yeah, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google.
Oh,
But I
Amazon.
don't know why they give. Yeah, I know why they give Netflix. Microsoft is like a little brother. You could throw Microsoft in there.
They're like you said though, man. All those companies are always like. I know there was a big bidding war, like, or for the contract, who was going to get the contract for like the cloud in the military, the DoD cloud. I know it was between like Amazon and Google, and then it was like getting protested or whatever. I'm not really. I was keeping up with it a couple years ago when it was going on, but like you said, man, those are the tech giants. So if you're in the IT sector or you want to aspire to be in it, I'm pretty sure if you're in the military, you got a little bit of a leg up, like you said, to get in those events, especially if you're probably at Lewis with all the stuff right around the surrounding area.
And
So,
if
nah,
and it look, even if you're not in Seattle, look for it. If you're in
yeah,
close
Texas, it
to
doesn't matter, dude.
Georgia or Florida, there's something there. For your TAP process, they have different kind of classes and schools you could take that's also free and afforded to you. I didn't get the cert, but there's different, like Microsoft has this like MSSA program where they can like train you to be an IT pro and different stuff. there's this thing called Onward where they get you a certification and it's free and paid for. Remember that when you're tapping out too.
Okay. All right. For sure, man. We've been dropping dimes today. This is a good one, man. So, hey, what else you got? You got anything else that you want to lay it out, man? I mean, I feel like we touched on everything. We touched on your your early days, your in service, your out of service. So, if you want to do any closing remarks, and then just the balls in your court. Maybe what you're working on now, what you want to do, like what's some goals for Isaiah in the next couple of years? Like, where do you see yourself being at, leaving on a positive note?
So, in all, for like, if I was ever to be an NCO, they were trying to force me, but the type of NCO I would be, I would always, because I had an exit plan. For all you in that are watching that has an exit plan, never leave the path. Like, they are going to, it is the Army's job and requirement to retain you. So never forget what you came in for, and always be positive that there is an other side. There is an outside. There's the jargon that we use, staying in or getting out. The reason why I use it is because there's an out. Like you said, I was about to say that early on. My NCO said that to me, which is why I went hard on my job to make him look good. He said, I believe there's life after the Army. He said he's in these offices with these majors and these colonels, and their verbiage and their talk seems like they're gonna die with their uniform. They're gonna die with their camo on. Put me in the castle with the camo on. He's like, I never forget it. He's like, that's not me. I got a wife and kids. There's life after the Army. I was like,
Right.
God, this man is my NCO, because I knew I was already getting out. So keep that mentality. You might have the major or the colonel that's like, put me in the castle with the camo, but you gotta stick with it and remember what you came in for. And put in the hard work. Never be scared of hard work. When you get out, biggest thing another thing it's like kind of motivation. And you guys need to work on your own morale. When you get out, there's no one calling you at 5 in the morning to run 5 miles. There's no one watching your diet and giving you your diet. There's no free. If you're a veteran, you can figure out a way to get free gyms. But yeah, work on your motivation. That was me. Staying fit is a big thing. So never forget that. Keep your morale up. It's gonna be hard, but you got into the Army, right? The Army's hard. So not much is gonna change. When you get out, life is just hard when you get older, right? Aside from that, get on vet.gov, get on ebenefits.com. Don't forget that. And connect with me on LinkedIn. Isaiah, ISAIAHTHEODORE. I'm an open book. I try to get back to people as soon as I can. I'm open to ask questions about anything related to IT and the Army as I know it now. I know things are changing, but outside of that, that's it.
Nah, man, well, I appreciate you coming up, sharing your expertise, sharing your knowledge, being vulnerable. Some people might not want to talk about what you didn't do, but that's another piece of the value added puzzle of this podcast of people coming on here, being vulnerable, talking about what you wish you would have done. And hopefully, either I or someone else can try to help you start getting service connected. And I appreciate you. And if anyone's out here listening, you guys want to get on here and share your story, don't hesitate to reach out, and we're here for you. So I hope everyone had a good time listening, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Until next time, we'll catch y'all later.
Peace.
Easy.